Sorry to interrupt. Is it on mute by any chance?
Thing. When will we, when do we have to have this funding agreement in place in order to go to the bank? And when will we need that money?
Well, honestly, can you hear us now, Marvin?
Yes, thank you for that.
Sorry about that. I had us on mute from before the start of the meeting.
No
And we're
worries.
probably not recording this, are we?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So what was the question again?
Question is, if there's no other things coming from the Trump administration, when will we have to have this funding agreement in order to go to the bank? And when will we need the first hit of money?
Well, before the finance committee meeting and in the revised budget was assuming something in May. I kind of wanted to have the money flowing before we started borrowing against it. But I think the pressure's on a little bit more because of what's going on in the federal level. And so honestly, sometime this month in February, before March 1st is when we're going to need the first slug of it. I don't know what that number looks like.
So we need to have the county move on this
So
funding agreement fairly quickly.
So right now, I think there's a good possibility that we will move on it because I will be on the agenda for the February 11th INR. And so my goal is to go to that committee with a funding agreement, with the TDP, and with just sort of a Coast RTA update related to Ride 4.
Revised budget.
And of the revised budget. So about 4 things. I'll be standing in front of them for a while on that one, but.
You're a good stander there.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what we're looking at. And Barry is fully aware of the revenue gap. So I think he understands that we're going to need to borrow money to make ends meet. So if he understands that, and we've got this policy where that 5.45% is dedicated to Coast RTA operations and capital, that we should be able to make a loan happen. And I'm gonna borrow aggressively because laying awake at night trying to worry about is starting to wear on me a little bit.
So do you need any further recommendations to borrow the money, or do you have what you need?
I think I have what we need. Okay, good. I think we have what we need because the current policy is associated with checks that we know we're going to get. So I'll be able to show the bank that on somewhere around October 15th, I'm going to get a check for 1.8 million. And so it's the same principle as a SCDOT draw, which is what that 147 note is predicated on. That's why it's such an odd numbers, because it was tied to a draw that we were supposed to get from the state, which we have gotten. So technically I should try to pay that thing off.
And the only thing stopping you now is what you're assuming is going to be a problem because we're not the only mass transit thing on.
Well, I don't think that's it at all. I think it is, I could see future councils peeling off some money from that to do something else. And that was not the intent of the referendum. So I and that whole idea of not, laying low during the process also relates to why we haven't cut service. Like, I didn't want to cut service leading up to, when we probably should have, because we're not really set up and we're hitting our so-called fiscal cliff, which is the industry. It's happening throughout the industry.
But we didn't cut service because of the county against us, right? Did we not?
Well, it depends on who you talk to, but that's how I feel about it. That's how I feel.
Right, that's what you told me. Well, come a week or so and we don't have payment for our drivers, we'll take up a collection here, I mean, we all could, chip in a little.
Back to that second bullet, the word involvement. Yeah, you don't need their approval. You want to be able to do it. Will the county have trouble with the word involvement?
Well,
They need to know what we're doing.
well, probably a poor choice of words. I need them to set up the funding agreement such that it gives us the ability to do that without them being
Gotcha,
part of it.
gotcha.
But they will know about it because they know about everything.
Yeah, that'll be part of the agreement.
I just want to make, okay, I didn't
Yeah.
read it, we're keeping them in the dark, because here's the county rep to this board,
Right.
and that's not what we're speaking to.
No.
We need the ability to do what you're doing, but them not getting in the way, but we're not getting behind their backs and shady deal, okay?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I was
They
making
get
sure.
I just want to be able to bank on the 5.45%. That's the bottom line.
I do think that was their intent, but
It is.
who knows, 5 years from now, the next county come, well, man, why can't we do whatever,
Yeah.
like trails?
So
I
anyway,
see that you said one of these things that we signed was to go to the municipalities. How do you think we're gonna do on that?
well, I've applied for 200,000 to the city of Myrtle Beach,
Yes.
and I've had a conversation with North Myrtle Beach
Oh,
staff.
did you talk to him?
And I haven't talked to the
Oh.
administrator, but I talked to Randy Wright, who's a CFO up there, and they're talking about 150,000 for next year.
Well, they gave 250 last year.
Yeah, but I only want the one check in July to get us to the sales tax, and so it's just gonna help defray
Okay.
costs. I didn't,
And
it's all about the ask.
And then, this Randy is,
He's the CFO, he's the
really?
financial administrator.
And have you talked to him before when, with the, yeah? Oh, okay, all right.
He's a holdover. So just, I'll just go through these really quickly. Couple points on this slide is like, this is our current budget. The 8.8 million was our current FY 25 budget for expenses. And what it did is it incorporated a 20 to 30% cut in services in order to make it to the end. And it was set up that way because we weren't banking on the referendum to happen. Right? So that was assuming a continuation of road use fees moving forward. And so if we were staying on road use fees, we would have had to cut some service. Now, frankly, I don't know that a 20 to 30% cut would have been enough to get us down. And I'm glad I don't have to think about it anymore. But we would have been taking routes off the street for sure, which would have had impact on paratransit, would have impact on a lot of different things. So I'm trying to, so then we put a budget together without the 20% cut. And I kept the revenues the same. And so we were looking at 810,000 being, not having enough revenue. And that's, so this number is where's my mouse? Those 9.73 is operating without any cuts, but keep staying on road use fees. So it just showed you how short we would have been. And so then the next number was the ride 4 plus some interest expense, and then what the ride 4 revenue, how revenues would change with ride 4. And so we were 1 million. We have $1 million surplus. So in the revised budget, I was able to make some refinements in the budget. And don't ask me what all of them were, but instead of that 3.793 in operating expense, our budget now is 9.375. And in the original ride 4, I only was incorporating a quarter of the revenue coming from it. Because of that payment was 1.8 million at the end of the year, only covers a quarter. But we're actually going to be able to recognize 3 million in payment. So that's what the 11 million in revenue is. And so assuming we had the cash, we would be able to put 1.6 million into the bank by the end of FY 25. So if you're taking total revenue minus expenses, we got 1.6 million to play with. Now, obviously we can't play with it because we don't get it until October and January.
Then we have to repay a loan with it.
and they'll have to repay a loan. So there are, in the revised budget, there are 45,000 in interest expense, which I don't think will use all of it. That's basically a million, borrowing $1.4 million for a whole year. And so hopefully we won't have that level. We're not gonna borrow it all at one time. And so we can kind of keep those numbers down. It did incorporate the wage increases that happened. And we probably won't do any more until October. And I took some revenue out, like in the old budget, we had some money under 5307, 533,000. You see those in the bullets down here at the bottom, that I want to use for technology. And then there's 315 in residual FY 22 road use fees that the county still owes us that are in litigation. And I'm gonna make sure that they pay us for those, but they're not incorporated in this year's payment. So this 10,000,008 had 1.8 in sales tax and these dollars down here. And the 11 doesn't have those dollars down on the bottom, but it has the full 3 million in sales tax revenues. Clear as mud?
That's pretty clear.
Yeah. Yeah, what's,
Marvin, you got any questions?
No, it looks good.
this slide, the one before, we talked about, no, service cuts or,
The no service,
is that?
oh yeah, that's this one.
Okay, why I'm asked, earlier I asked about, you
Yeah.
verbally, this morning you said you would not,
Must be a financial.
you would not increase any service, and the word used earlier today was summer of 2026. The slide says early 2027. I assume this is our fiscal year when we say 2026.
Well, that was calendar. You're right. I'll fix that.
I mean, it could be a 6 month, maybe a half of a year
So,
difference.
so we went into this process. I wasn't borrowing 1.4 million.
I just, what's your plan next, the summer of 2026?
We should have everything paid off by
April.
operating by April 15th of next year. And so I won't do anything until after that. But it doesn't make any sense to,
No, I agree. I don't, I just want to know which time frame to talk about. So we're going to get hourly service on Route 7 sometime after April of 2026.
correct.
And by that summertime, okay.
Is this the end of your slideshow?
No, I got a couple more, but I was just checking something on the, So it is anticipated that a compliant O&M reserve and all short-term loans would be paid off by the quarterly payment to be received in April of 26. So no services until that
Gotcha.
is accomplished.
Is it projected that that final payment would have any leftover, or are we thinking that those funds coming in are going to be completely wiped out by that one?
Oh, no, we shouldn't come close to wearing them out. So the FY 26 budget will be fun because I'll have to really think about kind of where we're laying in those additional services. And those additional services in round one of the TDP are putting stuff back that we cut a few years ago.
Frequency maintenance,
That's it.
frequency plus.
Frequency
15.
plus a couple of things, yeah. 17. So that just kind of gives you a rundown of where we are. So I've got a couple of budgets that we're kind of comparing. So this one is what the current budget is that you approved back in August or whenever you did, and what the new budget is. Okay, which is lower than what I was talking about in the interim. Sense. So it's about a $514,000 increase in expenses for the year over what we had before, which included cuts. Right? So it's basically keeping service
Lower than what we talked about a month
lower
ago.
what we talked about. Right. Thank you. On the capital side, there is an impact on sales tax revenues for some of these. I think it was in the neighborhood of 145,000. I have to look at the summary page, but So there may be, some of the money that we're borrowing may go towards these capital projects. Yeah, you can't see that. Let's see, what is that number? 100,000 of sales tax is applied towards the technology piece that we're doing. Where's my bullet on, I guess my TDP bullet's not in here. So the only other add to that slide for INR is gonna be essentially a slide that outlines the transit development plan, kind of what our plans are. And the service increases, man, I'm having, excuse me. The service increases that are part of the TDP will also require additional revenue from other sources, which I think is gonna be a hard lift kind of moving forward. Because we've got the sales tax now, why can't you do it all with the sales tax? But they include, asking Georgetown County for increased road use fees so that we can put some service down there. If you think about our funding, structure, the influx of dollars in Horry County may give us the wherewithal to push some of the rural federal dollars to Georgetown. And if we can match that with some additional funding from Georgetown, we could add a route down there, which is essentially from Horry Georgetown Tech up to Georgetown and then up Fraser Street to the retail, kind of up by Lily Jean's house.
Ron, you're still talking about 2026.
We're at least a year out before we're able to do that, but I'm gonna have that conversation with Angela on Friday to kind of get that started. And we owe Georgetown Council and City Council, for that matter, an update on kind of what's happening now. Also, part of that conversation is what we're doing with the transfer facility, the planning and everything leading up to that, just to kind of get her up to speed. But if we can get another, I don't know, 100,000 out of road use fees in Georgetown County, we ought to be able to do that route pretty easily. And it would allow us to shorten the Andrews route to just Georgetown to Andrews and back. So you'd have two 60-minute routes down there that would match up to the 16.
How does HGTC get serviced?
It's on the new route.
Okay.
So, and then the other thing was, really kind of going after Vanpool funding. So I think there's going to be some money from the state that will be available for that. And then seniors. I'm hoping to work with Horry County Senior Services. I haven't really talked to Georgetown yet, but we'll try to look into that, where we could take on some of the transportation that they have to go to their meal sites. And that would allow me to get some vehicles and put some vehicles out in service to do other things. And so the micro transit concept that came out of the TDP, you guys are aware of that one. Those buses would be small buses, and they're doing triple duty. They're doing micro transit for the general public. They're doing paratransit, and they'd be doing senior transportation. And so classic case would be Carolina Forest Boulevard. We're providing services to the new Carolina Forest Senior Center, and those buses would be circulating within those neighborhoods to bring people to the endpoints to get on transit. And then also doing paratransit. So it just gives us a critical mass on paratransit. So we'll bring our cost per trip down on paratransit system by doing it that way.
And what is the mechanism to access the $25 million capital from the county? We don't have it yet.
That's going to be outlined in the funding agreement as well. That's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up. So there is 25 million in RIDE 4 for facilities. And Barry was interested in kind of when we think we're going to need those dollars. Presumably the road projects are so big that a lot of them are going to get pushed to later on in the program. So there should be some money available. I have Kimley Horn working on a monthly cash outlay on those projects so that we can kind of give them a lay. So part of that funding agreement would be, and I'm going to push for this, I don't want any stipulations on how many federal dollars I need to bring to those dollars in order to get those buildings built, because that is critical to get into a new building. And then, yeah, we'll work on when those funds will be available. We're, I'm not sure. I mean, like right now, it's 20 million for the maintenance facility and 2.5 million each for Myrtle Beach Transit Center and Conway Transit Center, what we do here. I don't necessarily want to be locked into those numbers necessarily. And there is the possibility, depending on how things go at the federal level, that we might need to slice off a little bit of that 5.45% to finance these buildings getting done. And so that, I'm getting some numbers on what that would cost and how that would, how that would hurt us on the operations side. So we'll see. Did that answer your question?
Yes. Are you done with your slideshow?
I am.
Is that it?
I am.
Okay. I have a question, but I'm gonna take a motion now. I'm gonna ask for a motion for resolution 2025-06 for the approval of the FY25 revised budget. No motions. Nothing.
Everybody's, in shock.
That's the same one the finance committee already looked at.
Slightly different.
Main difference is,
Main difference is that the revenues are a little higher.
Can you put that
The
slide back?
expenses are a little
What
lower.
those differences were, just so you can see them. It was only like 500,000
yeah,
page.
Can you just put an addendum to that? Do you-
So this one.
Yeah, no.
Well, this is not, we didn't really approve that revised budget in January, early January.
I thought we had written in order for him to take it to.
Well, he got like approval from the finance,
finance committee.
but it was not approved by the board.
Yeah, and the approval from the finance committee just allowed me to go talk to the county about it.
Good, yeah.
All right.
And I haven't talked to the county about it anyway.
Before I ask for a motion again, let me ask the question I was going to ask in discussion. If you borrow this money and are using this money using the revenues from the sales tax to repay it, you're not going to be able to use all that sales tax money to repay because you're going to have to spend that money too. So even though you're getting money from sales tax, spending money to keep the operation going, you still say that by April of 2026, you'll have $1.4 million or some amount repaid. So
So the three payments combined are 5.4 million.
and we're going to say we borrow
We're gonna borrow 1.4 or 1.5,
Okay, so that's 4 million more
4 million above that.
for operating and
You're
capital.
right, though, but we've got expenses kicking in FY 26.
So if we don't repay,
But-
what, do we have a penalty?
We have
If we don't repay it, we'll be in default and Brian will probably go to jail. Just to let you know, we'll be replaying that. So if we just put FY 25 in a microcosm, all right, we will have collected all the revenue by January of 26. All right, because it's 3 months in October and 2 months in January. All right, but our expenses will be, is it? That's not the right number. Our expenses will be $1.6 million less than our revenue for FY 25.
That's the money that we'll repay.
And no, that includes the money that we've repaid.
That's excess money.
That's excess money.
Okay.
It's just the timing of it.
Okay, so
Pushes it out.
let me ask the board this. I asked for a motion, nobody made a motion. So what are our problems with it? What are we concerned about here that we can?
Well, the finance committee made a motion for him to take it to the county. He hasn't taken it to the county yet, so why don't we wait until he takes it to the county? Because you already made it.
Because technically I need an approved revised budget before I can take it to the
The
county.
only reason the finance committee did it was because we thought
I'd be meeting with them sooner.
INR this month, like 2 weeks ago. Turns out INR is February 10th or 11th or something.
Private, isn't it?
So the approved revised budget includes them approving that this is actually going to be the amount of money you're going to get, that you don't really know yet.
I don't I have a gentleman's agreement, but I don't have it in writing.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
But this is a sales thing. We're gonna get our share.
There was a vote. So it's pretty confident that we have it.
That's what I want.
It's just a matter, it gets codified in a funding agreement.
Yes.
Which I think the county is prepared to do.
Mm-hmm.
The question is putting in protections for it for over perpetuity.
Yeah, understood. And a budget is a guide.
It's a budget.
basically.
Yeah.
All right, so it can be changed. So
Well
we're
said.
assuming that they're saying yes, and it's written that way, and we agree that that is that fair?
Yeah, and honestly, the big sticking point is getting through FY 25 to the first payment. And after that, we shouldn't have any issues for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
We'll be putting more money in the bank than we know what to do with, hopefully.
I'll second the motion.
Who's the first?
We have to have a motion first.
So you're you're moving.
I'm asking for a motion to, for resolution 2025-06.
Fine, I'll make the motion.
Thanks.
We have a
Second.
motion. We have a second. Okay, is there any further discussion on the revised budget? On the approval of the review of the revised budget? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any? Okay, motion carries.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, the next committee is compensation committee. So,
Defer till executive session if we could.
yeah, we're gonna have that in executive session.
Okay.
Okay, other ad hoc committees? I don't think we have any other ad.
Here, are there any changes for the, my committee?
Bylaws.
Bylaws, right. This is another one. Are there any changes
Thanks, sir.
that we have to make?
No, but,
Because
this is about
you
bylaws.
mentioned something,
I had an issue that said 2023. Nick asked for and got me a June 2024 bylaw. So if you don't have this one, it says June 2024, then
well, the
then you're
latest
out of
one is
date.
September something. It's on here.
Is it later than June 2024?
Probably not, probably not.
Okay, so if you don't have June 2024,
All right,
then you need to get that one.
That's on the board drive somewhere.
it's on here.
Okay. Okay. Any other ad hoc committees?
Is there any changes?
Oh, any,
Did you make?
Changes to the committee or changes to the bylaws?
Changes to the bylaws.
I have none.
Honestly, I haven't looked at it in a while. It might be
Okay.
time to look at it again.
Yes, I have to do that. All right.
But there are no changes yet.
Because every once in a while I get a call on it and.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things and you look it up together.
I don't
Because
think,
if you don't read it every couple of months, you can't remember what's on there.
Mhm.
Kitty, it wouldn't hurt to hold one of your committee meetings
Meetings,
and
right.
let's go through it.
Well, Kitty's reading it because she's the one that asked for the compensation plan. So,
There you go. I know she's reading it.
yeah, obviously.
When she needs sleep, she.
Well, I'm the chair, I guess I should need.
Yeah, well, she asked for it and that's really right. General manager's report.
Okay, a couple of things. We've had a rash of validator failures. Those are the tap to the cap, doohickeys that are on the vehicles. I think we have about 9 of them down right now. We are working with the manufacturer to see if it's a systemic issue. But I do expect to see some degradation of fare revenues as a result of it. Not a lot, but just want to make everybody notify anybody of that. We'll get to the bottom of it. Also in the process of purchasing 6 spares so that we have a little bit more leeway as these things kind of go.
So if someone comes on with a credit card, ready to tap, they can't pay. But what if someone comes on with $1? Are you charging them?
So typically, if one or the other is not working, we don't charge. So that's how
Yeah, that's fair.
we're supposed to work it.
Unfortunately,
How
it's
much
fair.
are the tires going for now?
Tires?
Well, is that what you're talking about, spares?
No, I'm talking about spare validators.
Oh, validated. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant tires.
Tires are way more expensive.
Yeah, I know that.
Um,
Well, I'm wondering if they had gone up in price. You know, they have probably.
so they're I guess the best way of putting it is there's not a lot going on with task. We had a bunch of stuff planned for last week, most of which fell apart. And this is related to a legislative reception and a board retreat. Most of it fell apart before we knew we were getting the snow, but then the rest of it fell apart when we got the snow. So last week we were supposed to have a legislative reception. We were supposed to have a workforce summit with the Department of Employment Workforce and some other folks and some employers around the state. We were supposed to do a board retreat for Task as our association, sorry.
Past president, currently the chairman of the policy
Policy
committee.
Committee. And then we were supposed to have a rodeo on this past Saturday. All of that kind of got put into the trash can. And so now we're kind of picking up the pieces, including trying to work a deal with the hotels to soften the $12,000 blow on the room block that we
Oh,
reserved.
my gosh.
And so it's a little bit of a disarray. We had a meeting yesterday with, I guess it was executive committee, which I don't think I'm on anymore, but they invited me, so I joined it. The rodeo has been rescheduled to March 22nd. Is that what I said, Doug? Which is a Saturday. It'll be held at Comet. And so that'll be good. We think the hotels are gonna let us use some of our block of rooms that week. And then we're scheduling the board retreat for February 17th and 18th, to where we can kind of get together and kind of figure out where we're moving forward on legislative agenda. The agenda includes 2 items. One is provisions that allow transit authorities to trespass passengers who violate code of conduct on our services. Right now, the RTA legislation is fairly silent on that. All it does is allow a driver to kick somebody off, but it doesn't put any time limit on it. And it doesn't, like we trespass people for 30 days if they're, doing whatever. I mean, there's all sorts of nonsense that happens out there. And we do it via a local ordinance. Greenville transit system tried to do the same thing, but their local attorney wouldn't let them do it because of the RTA legislation. So we're asking the state legislature to kind of smooth out those regs, allow us to do this from a safety perspective, but then also push it down to all the systems out there that aren't RTAs. So like human service organizations and other small transits that aren't part of the RTA legislation. The second piece is a unilateral increase in state mass transit funds. State mass transit funds were initiated in 1987 as 1/12 of a penny of gas tax. Amounted to 5.5 million in 1987, and it has basically been level funded for almost 40 years.
The percent's been level funded, but since they increased the gas tax, that didn't change either.
It did not have a correlating increase when they increased the gas tax. And so we've been getting 6.5 million, 5.5 to 6.5 million a year from the state since 1987. And the big kicker is in 1987, there were 7 systems that were taking advantage of that. So they averaged close to $800,000 a year among the 7. Now we have 33 with the 34th coming on in next spring. And so we've asked for them to basically increase it from 6.5 million to 80 million, which is CPI, the CPI index, the consumer price index, plus adding on 28 more systems or 27 more systems. We know we're not going to get that, but we're aiming high to get the conversation out there that they start increasing that investment.
Legislators, local area, Heather Crawford's still in transportation committee in the House, I think.
I haven't kept up with that, but I think
Anything on
so.
the Senate side.
I think so.
Either, we need to find that. I asked Nikki Hutchinson, the ARP, and I didn't get a reply back, but they made the new committee assignments for this new two-year term.
Well, that was what was central to what our conversation was gonna be at the legislative reception, which now didn't happen.
We don't have a sponsor yet.
We have a sponsor for, well, we have a targeted sponsor for, the trespassing.
That's really easy, but the dollars will be the controversy.
Sponsor for that.
You need a Democrat and a Republican.
Yeah, well, and we need senators and representatives. The thing that, I won't say I'm nervous about it, but I can see we could spend a little, friendship capital with SCDOT, because we're out in front of them on this. And the bottom line is because we're not getting any kind of love from SCDOT right now. In fact, they are in the midst of their financial management oversight, which is the review with FTA on all the programs, all the transit programs that they administer.
Justin doesn't like.
And Justin doesn't like when we get in front of him. So that's it, stick, just from past experience. But I think it's time to push the buttons, because, we get, I'm trying to remember this. We got $360,000 a year from the state in FY '24. That went down a little bit because we traded out our SMTF for some more federal dollars, the 2-for-1 deal. But then we got a little bit back in return on the rural side. FY '25 budget has $315,000 in SMTF out of a $10 million budget. So it's less than 5%. It's right at 3%. And that's killing a lot of systems here. I mean, even if we were to double it, that would be another bus route. So it's really important that we get moving on that. And we're gonna be meeting in the second week of February, or third week of February to kind of recalibrate where we are on that. Any questions? Next thing is just notifying, we got, message from Barry Spivey, a county councilor, Mike Massarelli, has gotten, a note from the folks who are redeveloping the Burger King that used to be on George Bishop, which is a pretty popular stop for us because there's people in those apartments on River Oaks that walk down.
There's a methadone clinic there too.
Asking us to move that stop, which is very problematic because you could move it over on Fantasy Harbor, but you're making most of the riders walk even further to get to it. And moving it closer to 501 would not be safe. And so I'm just notifying it because they've involved the county council. So I want you guys, in case you get a call from county council, you'll know what's going on.
There's a clinic there too that we pick people.
Yeah, that's across the street, right? And so my take on this, they contacted us on January 13th, asking us to move it because they're worried about buses blocking their driveway. And so my immediate response to that was, that bus is every 75 minutes. If it's there for 45 seconds, I would be surprised. So that bus is going to be blocking your driveway for less than 5 minutes during the
Sometimes
course.
it doesn't even stop.
Right, for a whole day. So that's not going to be an issue. But they have since talked to the councilman about people loitering on the front porch of the old Burger King. And so it's a nice area. It's grass, but there's a nice area where the sign is. Our sign is in the SCDOT right away, and we get this kind of request all the time. And I don't want to kowtow every time somebody requests. So my response to them was, I need about $20,000 to put a pad and a shelter, and that's the fix. So you guys, and I can probably bring 10,000 in federal dollars. So you guys give me $10,000, we'll fix the problem.
That'll shut.
That's how I responded.
What's it gonna be, another restaurant?
It's gonna be a vet clinic. And they're just refurbishing the existing building, so it'll be interesting to see what that ends up looking like.
There was a bad crime there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that building is like, it's like
good.
low key cursed.
Good.
Kind of joke.
Yeah.
The double murder that
Yeah, like there, I
Yeah.
can't remember if it was like an employee
It
or
was an employee and they put them in a freezer after.
Yeah.
that.
Jesus.
it was bad.
Take care of a Holden.
So,
Well-
well, and it's interesting that I couldn't remember because the request initially came from me and they expected us to move it by the weekend. And I was like, no, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
But it's interesting that Mikey Mash is the the councilman there because he is not a friend of transit. He's one of the few that has voted against us, like Masharelli.
He has? And what?
All these Italians on down there now.
Yeah, I can't, there was something, that we had a vote on something and he was like, oh, no, and I can't remember, and I remember that kind of stuff. And I have tried on multiple occasions to get like meetings with him, and we've been like through this whole process. And he does not respond to anything, and I know he voted, I can't remember what it was specifically, and and everybody else voted yes, so it wasn't like a big deal.
He's been pretty cordial at INR meetings and
Oh.
asked reasonable questions, so I don't know.
He's got a
We'll
group.
see.
He's got a group behind him.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, and so I'll let you know, what comes out of it. I just want, because the councilman has been involved, I just wanted you guys to know what's going on.
He's fairly new to council.
And he is fairly, yeah, he took over for,
Johnny Boy.
Paul.
Because
Um,
it's like
February 27th at the Myrtle Beach the Myrtle Beach, train station. We are planning on hosting an industry day where we will be inviting architects, engineers, and construction management folks to come and ask questions about the RFPs we're putting out for design, engineering, and construction management for our facilities. Last meeting, we talked about this. The intent here is that the only one of those facilities that's actually funded completely is the transit center, because we have 3 million coming from the state. We got 2.5 million coming from Ride 4. And so we have enough money to build a new transit center in Myrtle Beach. And so what we'll do is we're gonna put out all three facilities, Myrtle Beach, the O&M facility down in Grissom Parkway, and whatever happens here at Conway, out for that RFP, and that the first product will be the Myrtle Beach Transit Center out of this. So we want to get through all of that procurement, in the first time. So this is basically a pre-bid conference where they come in, ask questions about it, kind of what our goals are. They get to meet some other folks who are interested in the project, so hopefully that'll encourage some teaming arrangements. I wouldn't say sharks are in the water, but there is a lot of interest for doing the project. So that's good. We should get multiple bids on it. And just as a review for everybody, it's called a CMAR. So it's Construction Management at Risk. And what that is you bring the construction man, you bring the general contractor for all intents and purposes into the design process and let them do cost estimates based on your architectural designs. Because whatever we finish on, that cost estimate, they will be married to. So it puts the risk on the builder to build it at the cost that we say. And it also helps you right size the project based on what funding is available. And so it takes a lot of risk off of Coast RTA in that process.
What time is that?
Well, I save the date. I'm not sure when during the day it is. And I'll send out a save the date for everybody on board. But it should be a very interesting conversation
Where's it gonna be?
at the train station, train depot in Myrtle Beach,
It's 27th though, right?
27th of February.
How far are we on our piece of ground?
The owners have missed their window to challenge our ability to condemn.
Okay.
So we are the official owners of that property. And we can move forward, with anything that we want to move forward. The two things that are out there right now as it relates to the parcel are defining what the stormwater requirements are gonna be, because that has a real impact on how far back into that property we're gonna go and the ability to be able to do a land swap with the neighbors in the back.
Oh, yeah, with the.
And so we're trying to get an answer to that. And then we've gotten, the geotechnic, the soil mechanics analysis done. And so there's some things related to that we'll need to do as far as site prep before any building happens on it. So they're to bring in soil to kind of pack it
Right.
down a little bit. It's a lot of clay and a lot of sand. And so we're working with the city to kind of split costs on
Did
that.
we pay for this ground in?
The money is in escrow with the courts.
We don't have.
So we have
right.
$4.35 million
But we
in
really can't,
court system.
you can't put anything on until it's paid for, is the correct?
No, we're free to
Okay.
move. We own it.
We are.
We're gonna, we've got the stormwater, we've got the soil mechanics, and one other thing. There are two environmental things that came out of the environmental clearance that we need to check. Pondberry, which is a endangered plant, so we gotta wait till the growing season
The heck is
to make
that?
sure that there's no pondberry, I can tell you. And one other on the environmental side. But so the big trick to this coordination with the city is gonna be that we've cleared this property through the federal environmental policy. We just gotta make sure that Myrtle Beach doesn't do any missteps as they go through that process.
Are there any people living on that ground?
We saw a tent by one of the stormwater, the existing stormwater, when we were out there. I will tell you that every plant out there has briars. Because I walked out there in my
Yeah.
CEO uniform and got tore on the loafers.
There are a lot of new no trespassing signs up, 3 no trespassing signs, which weren't there 3 months ago.
Well, and we have it in the works to put a big old sign out
I
there.
was gonna ask you.
Coast
about the
RTA
sign.
coming soon.
Oh, that would be.
What's the address on that? Yes, you know?
I don't think we have
Well,
one, do we?
it's just across from.
Yeah, there is.
Is there?
There isn't.
Oh, no, no.
Oh, it's down further. It's
Yeah.
Down further.
So
Further from the stadium?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
between,
it's between Joe White and 501.
You see,
Yeah.
the biggest curb cut is the landmark I use.
Okay.
like in the back, there's, if you're
I'll
going
meet you
towards
out there.
501, there's Grand Strand, lawn equipment, and then there's like a little further down and then closer to.
Okay, I'm getting a
There's-
visual,
There's
gotcha.
two big swaths of
Yes,
undeveloped
Yeah.
land on both
Okay.
sides. We're the one
Yeah.
on the seaboard side.
okay.
yeah.
So who's
21
doing the
acres.
site work now? So if you're saying you're doing all the RFPs for the bidding for everything on the 27th, who's doing the
We haven't,
soil? You said you're bringing
yeah,
soil and
that's-
stuff.
that's,
Who's doing that? Did you have to bid that or it's just?
yeah, that's part of our facility development contract that we did with Killing Horn. They have a sub, so I can find out for you.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
So that's already in the works then.
It's all in the works.
Okay.
You have some pretty good maps too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think I got it now in my head. I was just curious as I was driving around.
so this is a little bit of hearsay, but, it is our understanding that the owner passed away over Christmas.
London?
In London. I think that this is the husband, the wife whose family is the one who owns the property we think is
Yeah.
still around.
Yeah. I get
But
Okay.
there could be some dealings with a trust
Oh, yeah.
on this, but,
That's bad news.
hopefully that simplifies things. But it can be determined, and we haven't verified that he's not with us anymore.
Not that it's a problem, it takes a long time.
Yeah, it's just,
Long time.
because of this process that we've gone through, that doesn't matter, it just means the money sits in escrow, and it's earning interest. And so we'll see what
But-
happens.
But she could probably come and put, something on it that you can't get on the link, can't she?
No,
No.
she doesn't own it anymore. She can. And so then the last thing on the docket we've sort of hit on even before the meeting is anybody's guess on what's going on with federal government right now is better than mine.
Yeah.
I just don't know. And I can't remember if I said it during the meeting or not, but I just want to notify you all that we did pull funding from FTA yesterday for February expenses, which is technically a no-no. But I did it because I think that, I just want to keep cash flowing for as long as I can. And who knows what the timing will be on shutting down these grants. There's a lot of question, like, I was reading an article in the New York Times. The first item on the list was transit grants, which scared the crap out of me. But I can't imagine that those would stay locked up for an extended period of time because it's a pretty bipartisan.
It's according, that is according to, if you're nice to him.
Yeah, we gotta
Be
support
nice.
his policies, but
Oh,
yeah, so
They
and
cut SNAP benefits yesterday for like the day.
Well,
Yeah, but- but
in
they-
the original executive
They have
order,
legal people.
they weren't supposed to touch any individual payments. Like it was,
Yeah.
it was grants and loans to
Yeah.
like organizations and there were, a lot of it had to do with federal, or foreign aid and stuff like that. But, it's, it's this birdshot method of just putting all these executive orders out and see what sticks.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's out there. I think it gives us a little bit of leverage in the conversations with the county because they know that that's going to be really hectic for us as it relates to being able to borrow and that sort of thing. So I'll keep you guys posted as best I can.
Yeah,
I think it has
banks will love to see you coming.
serious ramifications for the state, because if they're cutting off federal funds to the state's gonna be even slower on what's been a slow process for redoing our reimbursements under the rural program. So it's out there.
Does that include your general?
That includes the general manager's report.
Okay, moving along.
I told you this was gonna be a beast of a meeting.
Yeah, old business. We're on old business now. I would like to have a nomination for vice chair.
Nominate Marvin Keane, who's now online.
We have a second.
I'll second Marvin.
Are there any other nominations?
Quiet, why, what, did he pass out? Is he with
No, I'm
us?
here. I'm here with you.
With no other nominations, all in favor of Marvin Keane as vice chair, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, big aye here. Any opposed? Thank you, Marvin. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
You ask a man that's busy and.
Right. Moving on, new business.
Um,
Any new business?
I have requested, from, Doug, for a trolley for the St. Patrick's Day, and I'm requesting it from, of course, our CEO.
Well, I mean, he's a man to ask, so
I know,
think
but
you're good on that.
I don't want you to say that I've gone, over your head.
that's a fun one. We'll definitely do that one.
Do I get a yay on that?
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay. Any other new business?
Brian, in addition to 2.5% COLA we gave staff, then sub-staff, the board recommends the same thing for you, approved for you. The 1.5 post right for bump and pay, that has been distributed to staff. January's pay.
January, that first payroll in January included it.
I'd like to make a motion that same 1.5% be extended to the general manager effective the first pay period in January.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor.
Second.
To receive the same, okay, second. And it's to receive the same over the whole organization bump in pay of 1.5% that the staff got beginning in their January first pay period. And we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. New business executive. We have an executive session for a personnel matter. Can I have a motion to move into executive session?
I so move.
Second. Any discussion on executive session? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'm gonna ask,
Ryan, could you stay for the first part of the meeting?
Sure.
We have the camera off. Does anyone need a little break or anything?
Run the bathroom.
Yeah, leave that door open because you won't be able to get back in.
Oh. I can open that door.
It will take a few minutes. Hey,
Okay.
Sarah, you having fun?
Yes, there's a lot to learn. I love new information.
Good.
Where's your back? Where are you from?
I'm from England,
Which part?
London,
Hey,
long time ago.
Linda's left, Cambridge area.
Oh, that's
Three.
nice. I was just there last, so, let's see. Cambridge, June. My cousins live in Cambridge.
Retired Air Force guy, he's working. Well,
Let me stand up.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot of Air Force bases.
Beast.
Yeah. Well, we knew it.
Dad's retired.
That wasn't bad.
Service.
Okay,
She hasn't gotten yet. I gotta figure out cash.
okay.
I also owe you guys a new project listing.
Passports can do this.
That happens.
That
Got a
must
lot
have
of
been
things to do.
He did come back this way, go to Heathrow, you have to